All right, so distributed property. So your goals for today is is to use the distributed property. That's goal number one. And then goal number two, what we're going to do is to simplify. So we're going to be simplifying algebraic expressions, okay? Which you've done already before. So hopefully it'll be really easy for you guys. So I'm going to talk about the distributed property. So when there's a number on the outside, you distribute it, right? Isn't that what the distributive means, to hand out, right? Isn't that what we're doing? So if I had A, and inside the parentheses, B plus C, what this is saying is it's A times the quantity of the sum of B and C. That's what this says. Quantity means parentheses. This is the sum of B and C, right? And then you multiply. But sometimes you're not going to be able to do the inside the parentheses first. So the very next thing you can do then will be the distributive property, which says you take the A, and remember there's a multiplication out here. So you multiply to both, like this. A times B is AB, plus A times C is AC. And that's what you do. That is a distributive property. Okay? All right, so now, but you have to remember this. You don't have to write this down, but if I gave you something like this, do you distribute? You do not. All this saying is multiply B and C together and then multiply by A. That's what this says. Because look at this. If I gave you this is 12, right? And then we do 12 times 2, which is 24. But some of you guys will make a mistake and you would do this. Well, this is 2 times 3. And then this is 2 times 4. 2 times 3 is 6. This is 8. And 6 times 8 is 48. They're not the same. That's why we do not distribute if there's a multiplication symbol in there. You only distribute if there's a plus or a minus in the inside. So now if I gave you this, do I distribute? So A times B, AB, minus A times C, AC. There's a multiplication symbol right there, so that's only when you distribute, okay? Now, can I go backwards? Can I do reverse distributive property? Reverse means, now when we do this, later on, I think when we get into chapter, I'm going to say 9, we factor. That's the reverse distributive property. What they have in common? What do they have in common? Yeah, so you're allowed to take the A back out and make it become like this because of the distributive property. Isn't this same as this? So you could go backwards too when we do this and when we get to chapter 9. And then what does this become? B minus C, because you could factor that out. That's called factoring it out, which is a reverse distributive property. Any questions so far? All right, so let me give you an example. I got 3 times the quantities 4m minus 7. All right. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. You know what? Let's save this. We'll come back to this. We're going to come back to this. I got to talk about this first. Ready? I'm going to give you some vocab words. Term. Okay. Term is a number. Or a variable. Or a product. What does the word product mean again? Multiply. So product of a number and a variable. Those are all terms, okay? And important thing is terms are separated by addition or subtraction symbols. Okay, terms are separated by addition or subtraction symbols. So, terms are like 3. Or X by themselves is called a term. I mean, they have special names for those. You know, this is a constant, right? I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. This is a variable, right? Now, a product of a number and a variable will be then 3x. These by itself occur called terms, okay? All right? Let me give you another word. Constant. What does that mean? What is a constant? It is a term without a variable. So if these are all your terms, which one is a constant? 3, that's a constant, because that's the one without a variable. Okay? Coefficient. What's a coefficient? Thank you. That is the number in front of the variable. So out of these 3, which one is the coefficient? This 3, right? Yeah. Not that 3, but this 3 right here. This one has a coefficient. Anybody know what that is? 1. Very good. Okay? Any questions so far? I'm going to come back to that in a little bit. Okay? Now I'm going to talk about like terms. Like terms have exactly the same variable factors. There you go. Like terms have exactly the same variable factors. Like terms. So let me give you an example. I'm going to give you like terms. Ready? M and 2m. Those are alike. Why are they alike? They both have an m. And those are exactly alike. Now, m and 2m squared, are they alike? Why not? Yeah, they both have to have the square, okay? So this is not like terms, okay? And I kind of visually explain it sometimes. If I had an x and if I had an x squared, the reason why these are not alike is x actually is like a rectangle where the length of this is x, this is 1, so the area of it is x. Okay, that's a rectangle. X squared actually is a x by x. The area of that is x squared. So this is a square. This is a rectangle. They're not alike, right? Is rectangles and square alike? No, that's why they're not like terms. Okay? And then if I said a x cubed, would you say that's a like term? No. Do you know why this is not alike? Because this one is an actual cube, which has a length of x by x by x. So this is a volume, x cubed. So cube is not same as a square, which is not same as a rectangle, so they are not like terms. Make sense? Okay? So let me give you some more examples. If I have 4x and negative 2x, are they alike? Yeah, right? If I gave you 2x squared and x, are they alike? No. If I gave you negative xy and 3xy, are they alike? If I gave you negative x squared y and xy, are they alike? Okay? So everybody understand what I mean by like terms? Okay. So now I'm going to go back to, do you see why I can't do inside the parentheses? Anybody know why I can't combine those two? They're not like terms. They're not like terms. 4m and 7, they're not alike, right? So you can't combine them. That's why we bring in the distributive property. So now we're going to simplify this by distributing. So 3 times 4m is, thank you, 12m minus 3 times 7 is, can I combine those two? No. So this is your final answer. Okay? Not like terms. Okay? Any questions with distributive property? Thank you. If there's no number in front, it's negative 1. And then, which makes it, okay, and then, so it makes it a plus 6. Okay? Last example. Maisie, you want to try this one? I haven't read it yet. You want to try? Negative 2w squared plus w squared. Negative 2w squared plus w squared. There's no parentheses for the number on the outside or anything, so I'm not distributing. I'm just combining. Negative w squared or negative 1w squared. Because if there's no number in front of this, what's the number? 1. So what's negative 2 plus 1? Negative 1. So negative 1w squared. But I like to rewrite it as negative w squared.